An election is coming up in Nigeria that is unlike any other. With record-breaking numbers and the fate of the country or even the entire continent in the balance, it is safe to say that the impact of this upcoming Nigerian election is going to be absolutely monumental. The stage is set and the entire country is ready. There really is no need to build up suspense or try to embellish things in any way. Just to get you even more excited about the stakes, however, here are 9 things about the Nigerian election that you definitely should know. Did you know that simply having the majority of votes during the Nigerian presidential election doesn't necessarily mean you have been officially elected president? The Nigerian president is usually elected through qualified plurality vote. This means that to win the election, a candidate must have the majority of the vote and at least 25% of votes in 2/3 of the states. So, if all the votes from all the states have been counted and a candidate emerges with the highest number of votes, they still have to have gotten at least 25% of votes from at least 24 out of the 36 states. Having the total majority but not having 25% of votes in more than 12 states would mean that a second round of elections will have to be carried out. This second round will only be between the top 2 candidates. Nigeria is not the only country wherein a simple overall majority does not necessarily appoint the winner of the presidency. The United States of America, for example, has its electoral college, which is a whole different ballgame. In keeping with the incredibly high stakes of Nigeria's upcoming elections, INEC, the Electoral Commission, continues to reveal record-breaking data that proves that this is an election like never before. For instance, in August 2022, INEC announced that the number of registered voters for the upcoming elections has increased to a total of 96.2 million voters. This is a record number. To compare, the 2019 election only had 82.34 million registrations, while there were only 68.8 million registered voters in 2015. Turnout is also expected to be at record levels. Considering the fact that Nigeria has lost hundreds of billions of dollars from corruption and that the country is still facing raging insecurity, inflation, among other problems, it is no surprise that so many people want to vote. To deal with the record number of voters, INEC is set to deploy an election staff of more than 1.5 million poll and security officials, a number that is about 4 times larger than the size of the entire Nigerian military. There will also be 176,846 polling units, which signifies a 56,872 increase from 2019. Nigerian elections have a thing for postponement. In 2011, the National Assembly election was supposed to be held on 2nd April but was postponed by 2 days. The presidential election was postponed by a week from April 9th to April 16th. In 2015, the presidential and senatorial elections were scheduled to be held on 14th February but were later postponed by 6 weeks to 28th March. In 2019, the elections were suddenly postponed by 1 week after the electoral body cited logistical challenges. We can only hope that things are different in 2023, but judging by the recent track record, we definitely would not recommend holding your breath. Nigerian elections are quite expensive. In May 2022, INEC revealed that it was going to cost 305 billion naira to conduct the 2023 elections. This is also a record-breaking number. In 2019, the general elections cost 189.2 billion, which is about 115 billion naira less than it will cost in 2023, but still 69 billion more than it did for the 2015 elections. If you think that the cost of running the Nigerian general election is high, you'll be even more surprised at how much it takes to win one. While it costs 305 billion for the country to administer the elections, it will cost even more for a candidate to win. According to a member of the Economic Advisory Council, the winning candidate has to spend no less than 6.094 trillion naira if they are to win the Nigerian presidential elections. This equates to about $13 billion. The total value apparently includes spending such as cost of compensating rivals that lost in primary elections, that is estimated at 1.178 trillion naira. Cost of campaign and ground game, that is estimated at 950 billion naira. Vote buying costs, including logistics for vote buying, which is estimated at 1.1 trillion naira. Cost of electoral victory, which is calculated at 3.288 trillion naira. Cost of litigation and cost of funding at 17%, which is equated to 1.104 trillion naira. To compare, in the 2020 US elections, Donald Trump spent $774 million, while Joe Biden spent a record $1 billion. There are 18 presidential candidates in the Nigerian 2023 general elections, which is way lower than the 93 candidate pool of 2019. But with the 4 main contenders this year, the relationship is almost like a reality TV show. The 4 major contenders include Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Rabiu Kwakwanso. All of these politicians have either worked together or against each other in the recent past. Some were even allies before they clashed in a bid to get the presidential seat. For instance, in 2019, Kwakwanso and Atiku decamped to PDP, joining Peter Obi, who later emerged as Atiku's running mate for 2019. Before then, Atiku and Tinubu were all part of the newly created APC, where they backed the now outgoing President Buhari to defeat the ruling PDP. Now, Peter Obi is a member of the Labour Party, while Kwakwanso is part of the new Nigerian People's Party. Even though most of the politicians are old men with often outdated ideas, Nigerian democracy is actually quite young. After independence, Nigeria had more than its fair share of experimentation with democracy and military rule. It finally decided in 1999 that corruption with freedom of speech is at least better than corruption without freedom of speech. So, it settled upon democracy and have now been at it for 24 consecutive years, which makes this election only the 7th in the country's current democratic history. Sadly, violence is often one of the main characteristics of many Nigerian elections in recent years. A major reason behind the violence is due to the fact that most politicians often feel the need to deploy thugs and hoodlums to rile up voters, carry out vote stuffing, snatch ballot boxes, and even arm their opponents. Thanks to this, election cycles in Nigeria are usually characterized by massive deployment of soldiers and police all over the country. A major conversation that usually surrounds Nigerian elections is a question of which religion deserves to be president or at least vice president. Controversy regarding whether a Muslim or Christian should be allowed to become president is usually rampant. The country has a tradition of rotating the top office between Christians and Muslims, or at least if a Christian goes for president, a Muslim has to be the vice president and vice versa. One of such controversies occurred when President Umaru Yar'Adua, who was a Muslim, died and was suddenly succeeded by President Goodluck Jonathan, who was a Christian, as interim. Similar debates continue to this day, with many claiming that the president and vice president of the same religion would never work. Lastly, vote commodification is another popular feature of the Nigerian election. Remember how logistics for vote buying was estimated to cost candidates 1.1 trillion naira? That is because candidates tend to discard important economic issues during their campaigns and instead focus on providing menial cash, food, clothing, and other commodities in exchange for votes. This problem is so rampant that during an off-cycle gubernatorial elections in Osun and Ekiti states, candidates boasted about matching the amount their opponents were willing to pay for votes, claiming to be able to give each voter as much as 20,000 naira. So that's it. These are the 10 things you need to know about the Nigerian elections. Do you have other interesting facts that you would like to share? Please let us know what you think in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and smash that subscribe button. See you in the next video.